Yo, what's poppin', y'all? It's Brother Frona back at it with another video on the channel. And today's actually going to be a bit of a different one from what I've usually been putting out so far. If you guys remember from my very first video, I did say that there was a game that I also want to cover on the channel alongside P5X and Nikke. And also just a game that I've been waiting for a very long time now. And that of course is the game that you see on your screen, Blue Protocol Star Resonance. So in today's video, I just want to go over exactly what BPSR is for those of you that are new to the IP and don't know what it holds, as well as give you guys some of the community-made resources that I feel like will be very great starting places for new players looking to get into this game when it comes to things like guides for different progression systems that the game has, as well as different resources that should make your progression with the game a lot more seamless and easier to digest. But before we get into any of all that, what exactly is Blue Protocol Star Resonance? Blue Protocol Star Resonance, for those of you new to the world of Regnus, BPSR offers a rich MMORPG experience defined by several key highlights, the most notable of which is of course its anime-styled visuals. And before we get into any of all that, a quick history lesson when it comes to Blue Protocol, for those of you new to the IP. Blue Protocol was originally a game that was published by a small company under, I believe, Bandai Namco, and what happened originally with that game was it only got a release on the JP side of things. It never saw a global release, and the original ended up failing for really a mixture of different reasons, from just bad practices to just really a not well-built dev team overall that didn't really know how to manage the game properly and give players what they were looking for when it came to MMORPG experience. And because of that, of course, it ended up failing and shutting down. And honestly, again, as I said, I was waiting for this game for a very long time, and when I saw that happen, I really didn't think we were ever going to get this game to release again. But that's when a company under, I believe, Tencent, if I'm not mistaken, ended up picking up the IP and reforming it into what is now BPSR. They did, of course, keep a lot of the original aspects of the OG Blue Protocol, as well as just adding a bunch of new aspects to the game that ended up making the experience a lot better overall, since it has seen currently a CN release, and of course is now getting a global release, seeing that they're obviously doing a lot better than the OG so far. I would like to think, even though I haven't played CN myself personally, that they obviously seem to have a decent enough formula or a decent enough blueprint of the game if they're willing to bring it out globally, which obviously the OG never did. Having said that, of course the anime style visuals, which were the biggest selling point of the OG, stunning graphics create an immersive anime style world while preserving the high quality visuals of Project Sky Blue, which of course was the OG Blue Protocol. Dynamic combat system. So class systems, talent builds, skill sets, and equipment enable personalized combat style customization with interactive content updates, actively diversifying the approaches. A dust-boat open world where you can explore expansive landscapes filled with quests, dungeons, and epic raids. Now I will say, because I do have some experience with this game so far due to the global closed beta test they had a month ago, the game itself is not a true open world. You cannot go from one end of the map to the other in one instance. It is pretty much an instance-based open world MMO, so that might be a turnoff for some people, but I will say the instances themselves are quite expansive. There are definitely a lot of things to explore in those different areas of the map, so it does still feel open world, but I will say, for those of you looking for a true open world title, it's not going to be one of those games, but it definitely hits the areas right enough in my opinion. Deep character customization, another big thing about the original as well as the BPSR we have now, where you can expand character customization, enabling players to craft their own distinct personalities. And then of course multiplayer social experiences, so things like trade, guilds, and community events enhance the multiplayer experience, because of course at the end of the day it is an MMO, and if you don't have social experiences for players to experience in the game, then it's really not going to do too well, of course. Having said that, down below you can see of course some of their different social media pages as well as their official page. And then of course it says a little bit more about A+ Japan Inc., which is the publisher putting out the global side of things. CN server and the global server are being ran by different publishers when it comes to that, so do keep that in mind. And I believe the other servers that will be coming out, because going back to the top of this note real quick, even though it is a global release, it is really only for Europe, NA, and SA. So when it comes to things like a C server or anything else like that, I will say keep a lookout on their official social media pages to see when they're planning to release those, if they ever do. But seeing that the both servers so far, at least for global as well as CN, aren't, or at least haven't been region based or region locked, you should be able to play any server no matter where you are without the need of a VPN, which is nice. So for those of you that global doesn't support your country for, you should be still be able to play this game as long as you have some means of actually downloading it. And then with that being said, we'll now move on to a little bit of news for the game. So recently, or around like 9 to 10 hours ago now, we did see that we have hit the 5 million pre-registration mark. So that means we have now gotten all the possible rewards for pre-registration. The 5 million mark was the last point that we needed to hit. So we did get some Luna, which is the gold system in the game, some basic material mats, some Rose Orbs, which is the more premium currency in the game. And keep in mind that these are both, the Luna and the Rose Orbs, are bound to your account. So there's both an unbound and a bound version of these resources. Also get some vouchers for customization if you want to recustomize your character after you've already created them. And of course we do get a free mount for all new players coming into the game that they'll be able to get once the game actually releases, which of course is great. And of course when it comes to pre-registration, the game will be coming out, on October 9th, 2025. I am recording this currently on the 5th of October, and I will be having this video come out most likely tomorrow on the 6th, since I will be out of town and I do want to try to have some content put out while I'm away, so it's not just dry for pretty much the next half a week while I'm gone. So when it comes to where you can download this game, of course it will be available on Steam and the Epic Games Store for PC, and then since this is a mobile title first and foremost, it will also be available on the Google Play as well as the Apple App Store as always. And now from there we can move into the community-based resources for the game. The first of which I want to point out is blueprotocol.interactivemap.app. And if you're familiar with any other games with the open world where there are tons of different resources that you can obtain throughout the world itself, then you definitely, I'm sure, are familiar with this type of system. It's basically a way for you to detail and track the areas that you have explored and the resources that you have obtained. And whenever you have obtained one of these resources, you'll be able to click on it, check it off, and get rid of it from your map so you don't have to worry about it anymore. And basically it just makes it so that you don't have to worry about really backtracking a million times over the map trying to figure out if you've obtained a certain resource or not. So I'm sure if you guys have used any resources like this, it's definitely a game changer when it comes to pretty much saving you a lot of time and stress figuring out things that you don't have to look for anymore when it comes to different things like teleporters or common chests, epic chests, things like that. So for those of you guys that want to have this resource, I will link it down in the description below. Now this is the first one that I've found, so it's most than likely going to be the one that I plan to use for global. But if I do find any other resources like this, I will try to make a note of it in some format. But obviously it just really depends if I just personally prefer it, visual wise over, this interactive map right here. But other than that, the last thing I want to go over, which is really the biggest one of this video, it actually did just come out today as I'm recording this, again on the 5th of October, is the Blue Protocol page for Maxroll.gg. Now, I'm not familiar with Maxroll, this is my first time using this website, but basically what it is an all-encompassing page for all sorts of different guides in the game for the different systems and mechanics. Now, just from personal experience, when it comes to my experience with the game, again from the closed beta test for global, when I tried looking for any resources when it came to, guides for progression systems, build, and all that type of stuff like that, I really could not find basically anything. The best I could do really was just go through different Discord servers to see if they had any discussion posts for these different areas of the game. So the fact that we now have a dedicated page for all things BPSR is honestly a godsend. I have given it a quick run through earlier today just to see what it had, and I will say it's an absolute must-have if you plan to play this game, especially if you are new and don't have any idea about the different systems in the game. This will definitely help save you a lot of time and stress when it comes to just figuring things out overall. I mean, you can already see on the homepage they have guides for the talent tree, the skill system, the battle imagines, a game plan for the first month of the game basically, right? So shout out to the folks over at Maxroll that put all their time and effort into creating this resource for the community. Again, it's really nice to have, and I'm not saying this because I'm affiliated with Maxroll in any type of way, which I'm sure is not hard for you guys to imagine because I'm a small creator, but I just want to put that out there, be transparent. I'm not being sponsored or anything like that to say this. I didn't even know this was coming out, to be honest with you, because I do try to keep up with the news from the Discords, but I didn't even know something like this was being created and was going to be put out so soon. And usually when they put things out like this, it's usually not with this much content out the gate that it has right now. So definitely a huge bonus for anyone looking to get into this game. I mean, again, they have build guides, dungeon guides for the different dungeons in the game, all these different types of resources for the different areas of the game, even a build planner, which is insane, right? So if you want to deck out your own build that you're rocking with, or kind of have an idea of what builds you can expect in the game for the class you want to play. And on top of that, if you make an account and want to publish your builds that you made to the community, you can do that as well, right, under the community builds page. So you can see all these different types of resources that people have already made for the different classes that are in the game. So again, a huge resource for people that want to get into this game. If you want to have a better general understanding of what you can look forward to when it comes to BPSR, I would definitely highly recommend this page over all else if you want to just one general takeaway from this video, as well as of course a database for the different things like weapons and skills and whatnot, which may not be too useful for some of you guys, but for me as a content creator, this is absolutely huge, because really if I want to just take out any of these different things for the renders so I can have it for my thumbnails and whatnot, this will definitely be a massive thing to have. So again, huge resource for the community. I do appreciate everyone that put their time and effort into this, because again, prior to, today basically, there really was not a huge general resource that people could use for the game. Of course, especially since the game originally came out when it came to BPSR for China before the rest of the world got it. Any resource that you could find was obviously going to be in Chinese, so unless you either understood Chinese or were willing to play the translation app game and translate every single screenshot you had, then you're basically out of luck when it came to resources, right? When it came to understanding the game, you pretty much just have to figure out things on your own if you were playing CN. But now that we have this, definitely a huge thing for the English-speaking players. And I'm sure, in the future, maybe they'll have more language supported, I should say. When it comes to the community build, especially, there's already some builds that I've seen that, are in different languages. So definitely we'll have different things for different players, right? Different language-speaking players. So, and if you don't see anything that's in your language, again, feel free to make an account for this website and post something of your own, all right? Again, this is all supposed to be just helpful for everyone. You don't have to be perfect about how you play things. This game is meant to be played casually, as well as have enough progression systems in the game to just fully create whatever it is you want to create. So there is no right or wrong. There is no best or worst technically, since they have been making balance changes to the classes recently on CN to make all the classes feel more even. So really, do what it is you want to do. And if you have any ideas, or if you want to share your thoughts and ideas for different builds and whatnot, feel free to make an account on this website and share those. That's going to do it for today's video. I think for my next one, I'm going to probably try to do a general class view, or just a general class guide video. For those of you looking to see all the different types of classes in this game, so you can have a better idea of what you might want to try out first when it comes to BPSR, because when it comes to classes, there are a limited resource when it comes to the overall materials that you get to upgrade your class skills and whatnot. So you definitely don't want to make any mistakes when it comes to that, because you really can't backtrack once you've made a progression choice. So I will try to get that out hopefully after this one, but we'll see. But hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like, a comment, and of course hit the subscribe button for me. It does help out a ton. It's Brother Frona, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out, y'all. Oh, and actually real quick before I end this video, I just want to give a quick, if I think you guys should try out the game, should you play BPSR? Honestly, in my opinion, I'm sure you guys have probably already seen tons of discourse online from different opinions from content creators, as well as just people online via different, community forums, their opinions of the game. But at the end of the day, I would personally say disregard all of that, or just take it with a grain of salt, because ultimately, Since this game is completely free to play, it doesn't cost any money to download, nor does it cost, recurring payments via subscriptions or anything like that to be able to play the game for as long as you want. There really is no one that can tell you whether or not this game is worth playing other than you, right? So I would say when the game releases, try it out. Give it whatever time period you feel like is necessary to give or to get a decent enough understanding of the game to form your opinion on. And if you enjoy the game, then continue playing. If you don't, there will obviously be plenty of games to play later on in the future. But I did want to point that out there because obviously everyone's going to have their mixed opinions about certain aspects of the game, like I do myself, but I'm not going to state them in this video. But like I said, since it is completely free to play, there really is no reason not to give it a chance, because at the end of the day, some things that you thought were originally deal breakers because of previous games you played might end up not being the biggest deal breaker for you in this game, and vice versa. So alright, with that, I'm going to end the video now. Sorry guys, but if you guys enjoyed, it's Brother Frona, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, y'all.